So I'm thinking, Shirley Temple was a serious sugar addict, Andy. Did you know that? Yeah, serious sugar addict. And she's known for singing that song on the good ship Lollipop, which she sold a ton of sugar through doing that. Like they used her to push a lot of candy onto kids. So she has this kind of saccharine version of on the good ship Lollipop. And I'm just thinking you could probably do it with a Nick Cave, kind of dark kind of, to match the actual thing of what you're selling. I'm not going to do this right, but on the good ship Lollipop, it's a sweet trip to the candy shop where the bonbons play on a sunny beach of Peppermint Bay. I don't know, doesn't work. Okay, so total aside to that. Today in Sweet Freedom Sunday, we're talking about, is cereal child abuse? Not cereal child abuse, but is cereal, what we're feeding kids for breakfast, child abuse? So if you start to look at the average breakfast cereals that are out there, they have anywhere from 12 to 20 grams of sugar per 100 grams. So up to 20% of it is sugar, and more often than not, it contains refined sugar or refined grains that convert into sugar in the body, and very little nutrients in them. In fact, any cereal that says vitamins A, D, E, and K or whatever have been added to it because some nutrients are lost in processing, the truth is that if it says that on the box, it doesn't mean some nutrients are lost. It's pretty much all of the nutrients are lost through the highly processing tactics that they use. So what you're doing when you're feeding your kid cereal, and just to let you know that most kids don't just have 100 grams for breakfast. Some of them will have bigger bowls of cereal, and they'll add milk into it, which has lactose in it, or even worse, skim milk, because they're trying to avoid the fats that are often bumped up with lactose to compensate for the fact that skim milk without the fat in it tastes like crap, okay? So now they're getting even more sugar. And these are not nourishing sugars for their brain and their body. So it sounds really controversial, but I think it's much better to send a child to school without breakfast than a sugary cereal, because that's going to mess up their brain. They might have a tummy feeling like they're nourished, but there's no true nourishment in there, and the refined sugars are going to create problems in their gut and their brain. Now, of course, I'm not advocating sending children to school hungry and malnourished. It's much better to give them something nourishing for breakfast. It's just that we've been habituated into thinking that cereal is the way to do that, and I'm saying not a good idea. It's much better to have just some plain oats, or even better than that. I think it's much healthier to send your child off with an apple, okay? There's plenty of nutrients in that. There's fiber in it. They're getting some sweetness and sugar in it, but it's natural and the body can actually cope with it. So at Sweet Freedom, we have tons of resources to give you ideas on things that you can actually eat for breakfast. We have recipes on the website, and literally you just have to do a little Google search to find great alternatives for your children. But cereal is not one of the ones that we actually recommend because of how it's actually processed and made, the amount of sugar in it. And our children need to be nourished, not just have their bellies filled. And I think that's probably one of the things that people struggle with the most, is they really feel that they're being an abusive parent if their child doesn't have food, and they're desperate to get their children to eat food. And there's something that just kind of gets mixed up in that they'd rather have their bellies filled with crap than have them go hungry. And the truth is, they're actually better off with a little bit of caloric restriction or intermittent fasting than having a sugary cereal option. Is it abuse? I'm sure no parent ever wants to think of it that way, but we may not be nourishing our children, and in fact disadvantaging them by sending them off to school with a sugary cereal. So we're seeing that sugar plays an important part of many of the diseases and conditions that children are struggling with. And I've found in my own work that when we take sugar out of children's diets, all kinds of conditions go away, all kinds of conditions actually improve, and children start to have more even moods, they're thinking clearly, they're sleeping through the night, they're not bedwetting. It can impact almost everything. Their ability to focus in school increases, and their happiness level goes up. In fact, there's a prominent therapist here in Vancouver, Canada, who is a child psychologist. and she sees clients on the proviso that they take their children off of sugar before they come to see her, because she knows that they're much harder to treat if they have that addictive substance in their body. If you like the video, please give us a thumbs up and like it, subscribe to the channel and share it with people you care about that can benefit from this, and join our incredibly supportive Facebook group. And lastly, if you're looking to get sugar-free naturally, follow the links below and find out more about the Sweet Freedom online program.